Well, hi, folks. Welcome. I'm Irene Chancellong, grant specialist at Maddie's Fund, and I'm always appreciative to be co-hosting today with Allison Cardona. Allison is the California State Director for UC Davis Correct Shelter Medicine Program. We're so thrilled to have you here today for an interactive talk about the importance of pet grooming in shared living environments. But before we get to that, I did want to ask a question of the day, wanting to know what you might intend to learn this month. And so May is Asian American, Native Hawaiian, Pacific Islander Heritage Month. And so I'll just share that as a co-chair of the AANHPI caucus for peak grant making, I'll be meeting with members in person next week for a boba tea party, and we'll be sharing favorite dishes from our heritage. And so you have some great answers in the chat of what you plan to learn this month. I just wanted to share that about me. And I happen to be of Thai Chinese descent, and so one of my favorite dishes is a rice noodle dish called kanom jin. I typically have it with curry sauce and try to have it for every birthday. Do we have any other folks who wanted to share? Please feel free to unmute yourself. This is going to be an interactive call, so I am just setting you up.
I'll share something, Irene, that I thought was, I lived in California for about 6 years. And when I moved here to LA, there is an incredible Japanese museum that just really tells the history and has examples of what internment camps was like and declarations. And it just gave me such perspective and just was a beautiful and devastating representation of our country's history. But if anybody's in the LA area, I would definitely recommend going, and I will pay another visit this month because I really learned so much.
That is wonderful. Thank you for sharing. I miss Little Tokyo, and then if there's the area that has there's a lot of Japanese culture where maybe the museum is that correct? Somewhere in LA, downtown LA?
Yeah, it is the Little Tokyo area, and there's just so many incredible restaurants. There's a great ramen restaurant that I just learned of recently. So yeah, you can definitely make a whole trip out of it.
Awesome. Well, we also have folks who are saying they want to learn about the origin of Mother's Day. Also very cool. A lot of folks starting some programs with their Give a Shelter, Dog a Spay Day fundraiser. Great. These are wonderful to hear. Anybody wanted to unmute and share?
This is David Smith. I put it in the chat, but I've been working with AI bot, artificial intelligence, to figure out how to educate people. I'm mainly doing it for No Kill because I run No Kill Colorado. And I actually have a test bot out there if anyone wants to go try it out. I'm still testing it and seeing what's going on. You just go to No Kill Colorado and click the chat bot at the bottom right and ask it anything. Right now, I'm just training it on no kill questions, but I'll be expanding that going on. But I'm working on learning how to use that.
Very cool. Thank you. All right, well, if there's not any more shares, then we will go ahead and move on to national updates. I know we have some from Maddie's Fund. Sorry to put you on the spot, Amber.
No, that is A-okay. I didn't want to jump in front of anyone, but hi everyone, Amber. Irene and I are co-grant specialists at Maddie's Fund together, and I just wanted to remind everyone of two things. The first is that if you are part of the Maddie's Open Arms Challenge, the participation reports are due on May 19th, so we will be sending you some email reminders to go ahead and submit your participation reports through the grants portal. Irene and I are always happy to answer your questions about accessing the portal or about the report itself. So again, May 19th, the Maddie's Fund Open Arms Challenge participation reports are due. Lots of chances to win grants because we have an incredible amount of partners on this grant cycle. And my second Maddie's Fund announcement is don't forget to sign up for our monthly giveaways just for being on this call or watching it on demand. I'll go ahead and throw the link in the chat right now. So please be sure to sign up and to tell your colleagues and friends who watch this either again on person or on demand that they can have a chance to win a grant just by being here. Was that all my announcements, Irene? For Maddie's Fund? Okay, awesome. Thanks, everyone. Have a great week.
Thank you.
One other Maddie's Fund announcement. I am Dr. Sheila Segerson and announcing that on Wednesday, May 11th at noon Pacific time, we'll be having our next Maddie's Insights webcast where I'm really excited. We'll be hearing from Dr. Kat Littlewood of Massey University in New Zealand, who is going to be talking about the 5 domains model for assessing animal welfare. This is a model of assessing animal welfare that is talked about a little bit in the 2nd edition of the Association of Shelter Veterinarians Guidelines for Standard of Care in Animal Shelters, and a newer way of assessing welfare as compared to the 5 freedoms, which we used to talk about. So should be really interesting and hope that some of you can join us.
I'll just mention that it's Thursday, May 11th. May 11th is a Thursday.
Thank you, Allison. Did I say Tuesday?
12 noon. Thank you, Sheila, for putting the link in the chat.
Thank you. Amy, did you want to announce something?
Yeah, I just wanted to share something exciting within our organization. So I'm Amy Fry. I'm the Vice President for Green Mountain Pug Rescue. We're located in Northern New England. And last week we got 2 pugs from Korea that we saved working with Pug Rescue of Korea. And so this is a partnership that we recently added on to our network. And so now we will be planning to get pugs from Korea on a regular basis, working with some airlines. So it's very exciting for us.
Last call for any national updates. All right, well, I think we have an exciting talk today. So Allison, if you wouldn't mind going ahead and introducing, thank you.
Thank you so much, Irene. Hi, everyone. Great to see you and very excited to have Terryl Daluz here. We met him through the My Dog Is My Home conference. So big shout out to Christine Kim and her team. And Terryl did an amazing job at that conference. And he also is the founder of Wash My Dog Grooming Salon and a nonprofit, Loving Paws, and has a background working with individuals as a case manager for people experiencing homelessness. And I know I've learned so much for Terryl and just thrilled that he is here to share his expertise and knowledge and also interact with all of you. So welcome, Terryl.
Thank you, Allison. Appreciate it. Thank you all for participating, coming. Good morning for all those on the West Coast. Good afternoon for all those on the East Coast.
Hello, my name is Terryl, and
hi, I'm Andrea.
And we are the owners of Wash My Dog.
We moved into this community and we wanted to bring something to the community and decided to open up a dog grooming salon. We have our own pets. We absolutely love animals. We have our bathers and our groomers who absolutely love animals also. And you can tell it shows in their work and we enjoy being here. We look forward to having all of you come and bring your animals for us to pamper them and spread the love.
We believe in creating an experience. It's bigger than just dropping your dog off, because any place you can do that. We want when someone walks through that door that they feel welcome, aesthetically, how it looks, what it smells like, what they hear. And the energy that we bring to this salon is amazing. Everyone loves it, and we can't wait to pamper your dog or cat.
Hello. So thank you for sharing that video. Once again, my name is Terryl Daluz. I'm a business owner. I have 2 dog grooming salons in LA, the San Fernando Valley, and one nonprofit called Loving Paws. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what it is that we do at Loving Paws, because I think it's very unique in the field of social services and animal services combined. A little bit about me. I worked in the social service field for most of my life, probably 20 something years. I worked as a program director with adolescents that were homeless, living in shelters and foster cares and group homes, and then moved on to become an actual case manager for individuals and families that were displaced and helping them find living situations and permanent housing. So the interesting aspect of my story is being able to have that side of the world, understanding what, working with individuals and families that are looking for places to live, but they also have the little fur babies with them. And how do they actually integrate that into the program and make sure that we're helping maintain them, not only them, but their fur babies, and getting the care that they need. So as you saw in the video, myself and my partner, we moved to San Fernando Valley, to a certain area, Silmar, probably in 2017, and we saw the need to have a grooming salon in the area. She was a groomer for the past 8-9 years, and so we decided to open up our own grooming salon to offer services to individuals in that area. We also provided free services to individuals that were in transitional housing and permanent housing. We help them, we teach them how to actually properly bathe their dogs, maintain their dogs, and we would groom their dogs. But as time moved on and our business was growing, I did not have the financial means to continue that program. So we started Loving Paws. So before I move on to talking about what it is that we want to do, you got an opportunity to meet me. So my time is, I want to hear a little bit about you. This is going to be very interactive. I'm not only a entrepreneur who have businesses, I'm also a creative being. I'm a change agent. I'm an actor. I'm a writer. So I'm very theatrical. So I need to know if you are a lover of animals, just put in the chat a heart emoji or a thumbs up. I just want to see all that. I need to feel your energy right now. All the animal lovers, put in the chat a heart or a thumbs up or I love animals. Great. I see people beginning to do that. Now, the second thing I'm going to need from you all is to write in the chat one thing that you love about dogs. One thing that you love about dogs. If you can write in the chat one thing you love about dogs, and while you do that, I'll give you my backstory on how I fell in love with animals. I grew up in New Haven, Connecticut, with a single mom. She raised myself and my brother. We didn't have a lot of money. We lived in the low-income project complex, and everyone hears New Haven, they think Yale, and you're wealthy in Connecticut, but there's a small community that's on the outskirts of Yale University that isn't as fortunate, and that's where I lived. And at the time, at maybe 5 years old, I noticed that every time I saw a dog or a cat, I would just, I got emotional. My mom couldn't afford for us to have a dog or a cat at the time, but I begged her every time I would see one out in the cold, because it would get cold out there, can we help them? So she allowed me for different times to take one in for a day or two and feed them. I would take whatever change that we would get and buy cat food or dog food, and I would feed them. And then when I have to let them go free, I would cry. And so, and I would ask, where would they go when they have nowhere to live? And I didn't understand that concept. So I would do this on a regular basis. I even built little dog homes out of cardboard boxes and cat homes out of cardboard boxes and put it under places where it didn't get wet under trees. So my love of animals started then. I thought I wanted to become a veterinarian. And as I got older, I had a cousin who was in school for veterinary services at Yale. And I went and started going to I was probably around 12, going to his classes and seeing. But when I saw that animals were getting sick and we had to deal with sick animals, I kind of said, okay, that's not what I want to do. But my love of animals kept going and progressing. And so whenever I see a dog, I got my first dog. My mom finally let me have a dog. She said, you're able to take care of one right now. You're 13. And her name was Sheba. And whenever I would come home from school, she would greet me, and it just created an energy inside of me just to get that love from my dog and to have the attention. So why I love dogs is they evoke an emotion in me of happiness and joy. And let's see what some of your responses are. And what I'm going to do is, as though I'm going to look at some, I would ask I want a couple of volunteers, because this is important. This is why I want to hear, just as you heard my story and I looked at some of you guys' faces and saw you light up, there's something about hearing a story or something about why you love animals or dogs that does something to us as human beings. It does something to our spirit. So if I can take some courageous volunteers, someone can help me assist with this, as I'm not the best at this. If we can call on individuals with their hand raised, and just give us a little story or something about why you love dogs. And everyone else, just sit back and see how you feel inside when you hear their stories. I can't see everyone, so if someone could help. Anyone raises their hand.
It'd be easiest if folks raise their hand. I mean, I'll start. I'll share that I have a puppy right now, and I had my older dog before that. But they're both so forgiving, and I just think it's a lesson I could learn in my own life. I don't know if I have any specific stories other than that.
That's great. That's great. Just the feeling. What is it about having them that does something to you? Anyone else? Don't be so shy. Please raise your hand. One more person.
David just raised his hand.
David, yes, David, please, yeah.
Sure, I'll jump in just because I love the meeting of my first dog.
Yes.
I was a little boy, and my mom got a Saint Bernard that was already full grown, and that dog looked me right in the eye the day I met her. Her name is Smudge. And ever since then, not just do I always love animals, since I met Smudge, she was just the sweetest animal in the world. If I'm standing up and the dog doesn't look me in the eye on all fours, they're all small dogs to me.
Right.
Because the first dog I ever met was literally my height. And
Wow.
and I always laugh about that because I have two Saint Bernards now, and they're both little.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing, David. It's very important. So listen to this. When you just heard myself, David, Irene speak, how many people felt the energy from each person when they spoke about the love of their dogs? You noticed it in their eyes. You can see it in their smile. You felt the energy. The energy was transferable to all of us. So it's something about dogs. It's something about animals that does something to us, which takes us to the next step. It made you feel good. And why is this important? Why is any of this even important when I'm supposed to be talking about grooming or working with animals in a congregate environment? It's important because welcoming energy is important when you're dealing with not only people, but when you're dealing with animals. And why is that important? How many people heard that dogs sense fear? Raise your hand. They sense fear, they sense anger, they sense when you're in a great mood, they sense when you're nervous, right? And so if you have certain energy and you're working with animals, they sense that, and it's then projected onto them. Energy is transferable, like we talked about. For instance, how many people have walked into a room or office or even at home and you can feel the tension cutting like a knife? Just from walking into the room, whatever that individual is going through in their life, you can feel it. How many people have felt that before? Raise your hand. I'm sure all those that are in relationships know what I'm talking about. Because if your significant other is upset, they don't have to say a word. You're going to feel it immediately. You might want to get out of there very quickly or do something to change the energy, right? So welcoming energy is a major factor in how we need to deal with animals, especially, but also how we need to deal with individuals and how we need to run our businesses and our organizations. We take that little thing for granted, energy. Everything about energy is about creating a safe environment for people and animals to thrive. Positive energy. Why is that important? When an individual, and I'm speaking about individuals that are living in shelters, individuals that are living in transitional housing, individuals that are living in permanent housing or just finding a home to live. An individual walks into a shelter or transitional housing. It could be very overwhelming for them, maybe even a little emotional. You don't know what they've been through. They may need a shower, they may need something to eat, a place to rest their head. Then put on top of that that they have their fur baby with them. Now, most shelters are trained in catering to the needs of their two-legged constituents. They have showers for them. They have a cook to provide them with food. They have a bed for them to lay down on. They have case managers with experiences to help them get on track. They can connect them with therapists and psychiatrists to help them with any traumas that they may be going through. But what about the pets? What do they have for people with their pets that are now coming into an environment that can be a little stressful? So I posed the question, does the organization provide a welcoming environment for not only people, but also their pet? Because if any of you have worked in shared living environments, if you do, you work in shelters and you like to share how your organization provides a welcoming environment, please put in the chat. Or if you would like to comment, you can raise your hand and we'll call on you. But I just want to hear, if you don't work in that type of field or that environment, but you still work in the field with animals, what are some things that you do to provide a welcoming environment for the animals that come into your space?
Oh, Terrell, two folks had their hands up, but I think they put them down. It might have been from previous. Jody, did you have your hand up? And I saw Christy Schilling also did.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Allison.
Yes, I did. One of the things, we are actually the Humane Society of Sheboygan County here in Wisconsin, and it is really important for us to welcome everybody, not just the animals. And so what we run into here at the shelter is we actually will take in animals on short-term holds for anybody at our humane that are at the homeless shelter here at the Salvation Army or our domestic abuse shelter. And so we try to make it as easy as possible for those individuals because now they're in a whole different situation. We actually set up times for them during our socialization periods that they can make appointments to come in and have private one-on-one time with their pets, because pets are therapy. I mean, it's almost, you lose your home, you lose your pet, that's part of your life. So that's been part of our mission. We do all of our fundraising because we're 100% donation based, but it's just something that we as an organization and the people that donate to us have made a priority, that is something that we need to do to help the community, not just the pets, but the whole family.
Thank you. That's very, very imperative. That's very key. Finding the processes needed to create an environment for people to, one, feel safe, but also, go through whatever they need to go through so that they can stay united or get united with their pets. Thank you.
Right.
Thank
And
you for
it is,
sharing.
it's really about, it could happen to any one of us
Yes.
tomorrow.
Yes.
You just don't know. So you know, it's really that empathy factor that you have to have, and be there for the folks that we serve.
Thank you, Jody. Thank you for sharing, and
Mhm.
thank you for your organization. Anyone else? Allison Frazier.
Elisa.
Elisa, sorry, Elisa Frazier.
It's okay. I answered anything close.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if, I think a few of you know about SNP, but SNP is a spay and neuter incentive program. And when I took over 4 or 5 years ago, my love for animals, I incorporated into our bylaws to rescue cats and dogs. And then we also incorporated to house pets of victims of domestic violence.
Wow.
We currently are taking in when people are in transition. I just got a call this morning where we'll have to house a cat for 2 months while a person is transitioning into a new home. So we are volunteer only. There's only 5 or 6 of us. And so we just, my phone, I answer it all the time. So that's how I make it easy for people to be able to come and see their pet while we board them. And we do all that for free. We just ask for a donation because we already know that they're in they're trying to keep their pet, but they have no outlet to do that. Currently I'm bottle feeding a baby puppy.
Wow.
So I'm a bit tired.
Wow.
And taking care of my mom. So anyway.
Thank you, Elisa. So that's very important to, you have individuals who are either displaced and are concerned about where they're going to live and how they're going to keep their animals. And if you don't have someone like Elisa or anyone, all these other agencies out here, then they have to either give up the animal, and now that's even more stressful. So all those things, comments that you gave, and everyone that spoke, that's very important. It's the empathy, it's the welcoming, it's the energy, it's providing resources. Is there anyone else before I move on? Okay, all right. So as we go on to the next step, I always say it's very imperative, because as you all mentioned, everyone here loves animals, and everyone that has animals love their animal. And it's important that, you know, people can keep their animals, whether they're rich, poor, young or old, live in a mansion or live in a shelter. So what we do at our agency is we look at the aesthetics, okay? What does our environment look like? How do we create a welcoming environment for our establishment? So we started with, when a 2-legged person, or maybe one, doesn't matter, 4-legged person walks into our establishment, what does it look like? The lighting, the colors, the decor. Is it people and dog friendly? What does it smell like? What does it sound like? What does it feel like? Why does that matter? How many people have walked into a business and because of the way it looked, smelled, the noise, how it felt, you turned right back around and walked out? Raise your hand. I know it's happened to me numerous times, right? I told this story at the last conference. I can remember walking into a barbershop. It was my first time going there. Someone recommended me, my 8-year-old son at the time. We walked in. As soon as we walked in, I could smell the smell of marijuana, like as if someone just took a puff and blew it off. Now, I know it's legal, but I didn't want my 8-year-old son smelling that when we walked in, right? The next thing, it was music that was being played, and it was loud, and different curse words was happening. And it just wasn't appropriate for me and my 8-year-old son. So the environment, the guy could have been a great barber, he could have been a nice person, but because of what it felt like when I walked in, what it smelled like, what it sounded like, I did not want to stay in that business. So if understanding that, when we created our Wash My Dog and Loving Paws, we thought about what is it that we want to do when people walk into our spot. So one of the things you see in the video, that when people walk in, it's a nature type environment. Why? We did that very intentional, because dogs, animals, and people thrive in nature. So when you walk in, you'll see trees, You'll see grass, you'll see green walls. We have beautiful fish in our fish tank, bright colored paintings. You'll hear the sounds of birds chirping. They're not real birds, but they are chirping. There's the sound of waterfalls. We have the smell of jasmine and eucalyptus to give the place a relaxing smell, but also to hide the fact that when dogs express their anal glands, they sense that when they walk in. And as soon as they smell anal glands, they're turning back around and they're getting out of there. So we have to disguise it, but it also smells good for our people that walk in. The receptionist comes from behind the desk. She gives them eye contact. She welcomes them. She's sincere about helping them with their dog because she really cares about dogs. It's important. There's been many times where you walk into places and people are like, welcome. They're not really giving you the attention. They're just looking down at the computer. They're not really showing you that they're paying you any attention. I'll give you a story. How many times have you walked into an environment like that? You look, someone's looking down at the computer or they're on the phone. They're not even giving you no attention. They don't even tell you, could you hold on for a second? And you're standing there for about 3 minutes. How do you feel when you walk into that? I went to my gym a year ago. There was a great young lady there. Her name was Jasmine. Whenever I walked in, she was like, hello, Terrell, welcome. Good morning. How was your day? It was great. I sign in, I go do my workout. Going to the gym wasn't just about working out. It was about the environment that I walked into. And then a couple of months later, she's no longer there. They have a new person. She doesn't even give me eye contact. She doesn't even greet me. She doesn't even say hello. I want to change my gym just because of the environment that is set. So we talk about environment because it's important when we're working with people and especially with animals. There's one thing that we got to talk about is the point of entry person. The person at your agency, at the shelter, at the grooming salon has to have some sense of empathy and some sort of heart for the work that they do. So making sure that we hire the right people that have that type of energy when someone walks in, because we have people that could come in that could trigger them. And I always look at this when I do my interviews. It's funny because I always say, apologize, I'm not doing a psych eval, but I'm sort of doing a psych eval. Because I like to ask individuals, what is your stress level? And how do you handle stress when it comes at you? Because if I have a receptionist who's easily triggered, they're not going to work well in my environment, because you're going to have people that are dealing with their dogs and their cats that may not be happy about certain things. And if they're easily triggered, then it's going to be a problem because they're going to respond in a way that I don't want them to respond to. So finding people that have that energy, because working with people can be very emotional. It could be very triggering, and it can have you go bald. My hair doesn't grow back, but I meditate and I focus on, I find ways to get over certain things. Some people working with animals is a lot easier. So whether you're a dog groomer, a service provider, case manager, you work at a shelter, you work at the Humane Society, we want to make sure we're creating an environment that is welcoming from the moment our interaction begins, and with all our consumers, whether they have 2 legs or 4 legs. So now I'm going to go into the more, how do we create a safe environment for the pets? Especially
Terrell?
working in the, yes.
Sorry, I just wanted to make sure you saw Kim has their hand up.
Oh, great. I didn't see that. Thank you for reaching. Kim, what do you have to say, Kim? Kim Gorgia.
Maybe it was from the last question.
That's okay. Well,
she posted in chat a couple of comments.
Okay, let's see.
What she was saying.
Kim, my current groomer has such a quiet spa-like space. It relaxes my scary pup. Great. One of the things that we do, just to give you, for instance, when a dog walks in to our salon, we don't take the dog straight to the back and grab them, especially if they're new, bring them in the back and put them in kennels. One, that doesn't do anything but just scare the dog. So one of the things that we do is we let the dog sit with the owner. That's why we have that park type environment, because it's a park bench, there's a tree stump, they can sit there, they can listen. And I say, let them get comfortable, let them smell around. If they pee, it's okay. If they poop, it's okay. As long as they're on their leash, we have them safe. We allow them to get comfortable. And then the bather or groomer will then come out and they will then, approach them slowly, kneel down, allow them to come to them. If the dog doesn't want to come to them, then we tell them, give them time. I've sat with the dog for 15 minutes before I took a dog back. One of the things I would tell the owner is, okay, I'm gonna have you step out, because by you being here, you might cause them to want to protect you and it might trigger them. So I'll have them walk out. I will sit on the ground on their level, holding the leash, and I'll wait. Typically what tends to happen is the dog does this. He's looking to see, or she's looking to see where her owner is. If they don't see her, then the energy seems to calm down, and then they put their head down on the floor. I ignore them for a moment and allow them to be in that calm state. Next thing you know, they walk over and sit by me. That's a confirmation of I trust you. So now they're sitting by me, and then I slowly, not fast, but slowly take my hand and begin to caress their head. Once I do that, that's the moment where our eyes meet. And that's the moment where that connection that you have between a human and your dog, or the dog, and where they see your intentions. You're not scared, you're not nervous, you're there, your heart is not racing. You pet them, and next thing you know, they come and sit on my lap. So that moment for me, making that connection with the dog, looking them in their eye, and not even saying any words, just caressing their head, is a great moment from human to dog experience where we've all had those moments. Being able to connect to that is very important. So let's go into, in a communal environment, how do we create a healthy and safe environment for pets in a communal environment? Well, one, it starts with education. We have to provide not only the staff that are in that environment with the proper tools and education, but we also have to provide our consumers, whether they're first time in the shelter or transitional housing, whatever. What is needed to provide for the basic hygiene of their pets? When I worked as a case manager for permanent housing, we had individuals that came in off the street, that they got their first apartment, and what we realized is they didn't know what it meant to really take care of their dog. Their dog just lived with them on the street. So they couldn't take baths. So do you think their dogs were taking baths? They didn't have time to really brush or groom themselves. So you had dogs that were matted, dogs that had fleas, dogs that had all different types of skin issues because they were not maintained. So what I did as the case manager is did a course on the proper ways of maintaining your dog's health and skincare. How do you wash your dog if you can't get to a groomer? If you can't get to a groomer, how do you clean their ears? You might not want to do the nails, but we could help you get someone that can do the nails. How do you brush your dog properly so that they don't get the mat, so they're not hurting? So we provided training on how to do this so that individuals that first time getting their dogs into a living environment were able to maintain their dogs. It's very important. One of the things that we talk about is dogs have something called the sebum layer. We have it as well. And after 21 days, that sebum layer breaks down, and then bacteria begins to build up, and then they begin to have hot spots and sores and bite and gnaw and itch. So dogs need to be bathed at least for every 21 days or a month. Don't go past that. If you're not doing that, then especially in a communal environment, they're going to have dogs that are going to have all types of hot spots and issues that's going to cause skin problems, and you don't want that, right? Some dogs are not able to express their anal glands. So we have to either do them as groomers or get them to a vet, because if they don't have their anal glands expressed, then they're going to erupt. That happened to a client of ours. She didn't know what happened. She wasn't able to express her own anal glands. The dog, a couple of days later, they saw an abscess. Next thing you know, it erupted. It was like $400 for that. So knowing how to take care of your dog, the drying and brushing properly. A lot of people have these poodles or multi-poos that are coming in and they don't know the proper way of brushing. So they'll get a regular brush and they think they just brush the surface, but then when they bring them to us, they're matted underneath and in the skin. So we have to tell them the proper tools, a slicker brush, which is needed to get into the coat and to be able to pull it out so that there isn't any matting. Another thing that we work with our clients on, especially in the shelters, is dog handling training, walking your dogs on the leash, basic commands. Those are important, especially if you have a shelter that has 75 individuals, and out of 75, there's 20 dogs in there, right? And there's 20 dogs and everyone's just letting their dogs roam free. There's things that can happen. They don't know the right commands. They don't have them on leashes. They don't even know how to walk them. So proper training on how to handle your dog. So when you're in a communal environment or out in public, you can have control of your dog so that there's no problems and no issues. So those are some of the things. The tools needed, shampoos, conditioner, proper brushing, teeth brushing. A lot of people don't realize this. When you have dogs, when I was coming up, and I had my first dog at 13, I didn't know that they need to have their teeth brushed. A couple of years later, my dog lost all his teeth, right? There's bacteria that's building up. So getting their teeth maintained on a regular basis. Flea and tick preventatives, especially if you're gonna be in an environment where there's lots of dogs. We have to get on top of it, providing the customers and consumers with flea and tick preventatives that they take on a monthly basis so it won't cause the spread of fleas and ticks. Also, proper bedding for individuals, kennels for the dogs to be in if they're in an area, or something to section them off so they're not moving around at night or causing, getting into things and, food and stuff that can cause them to get sick. All of this is important. And why? Because I've seen in situations where I worked, where dogs had to be removed from the owner because they weren't maintaining the proper things needed for them to keep their dog in the environment that they were living in. That was sad, and no one wants to do that. So we have to provide the resources with them and being able to do so. And one of the things that we do at our Loving Paws, so Wash My Dog is the grooming salon. Loving Paws is our nonprofit organization that provides grooming services to individuals that are in shelters, transitional housing, and permanent housing, but also training for staff that works in those facilities on how to create a safe and welcoming environment, how to provide the tools. We work with them. So we're going to show a quick video about Loving Paws, and then I'll take some questions, and then we'll close out.
Hello, my name is Terryl Daluz, and I'm the president of Loving Paws Foundation.
And I'm Andrea Carter, and I'm the vice president of Loving Paws Foundation.
We started this program, this foundation, because we wanted to offer services to families and individuals that were homeless. We realized that there's a lot of people that are living in transitional housing, shelters, permanent housing, and they don't have the support and the resources to get their animals groomed, which then causes issues in the housing sector and people living with them and fleas and ticks. So we started this program. We did it for free when we first opened Wash My Dog, and we realized that we weren't able to financially keep that up and maintain that. So we're looking for the support and funding so that we can continue to do this and help other families.
Hello, my name is Cecilia Ortega. I live in permanent housing and I have 3 beautiful children. It takes a lot to get them groomed. and this program would be a benefit for myself as well as other people. Terrell, the owner of Wash My Dog, and this program has helped me tremendously. He has picked up my dogs in the past and groomed them and brought them back home to me, which is a tremendous help. This program needs to get up and running to help people like myself and others like myself.
I've worked in the nonprofit world, so I've seen a lot of people who are experiencing homelessness that have to make decisions with staying homeless because of them not being able to take their pets with them into shelters or into permanent housing, or once they move into permanent housing, just the upkeep of grooming and services to keep their pets healthy. So with this program, this will help us help people and their four-legged babies stay together and stay healthy together.
So help us, help them keep their pets and them united.
Had a delay. I'm sorry. You can actually see that video. They have our information in the chat. You can look at washmydogla.com. You can go down to the link where it says Loving Paws Inc. It provides all the information needed. Like I said, I really appreciate everyone for sitting through and listening to me ramble on, but I think it's really important that we create safe and welcoming environment for our pets and people that come into our agency. Us at Loving Paws, if you're here in this area, or if you're even from another area and you have any, questions that you want to ask, or if you're interested in me coming to talk or going on Zoom to talk with your agency on trainings, that's what we do. We know it's really important to be able to educate our staff on how to deal with our pets, how to deal with the animals that come in, how to deal with the consumers that come into the shelters. And that's one of the things that we, really pride ourselves on, because both myself and Andrea work in this field. Andrea works with individuals in shelters. So we know what it takes to provide the environment for our consumers that come into our agency. And as a groomer and as a animal service field, we can also provide that. So our website is up there. If you know of anyone that needs our help, please, reach out to us. We're also fundraising, because you know how it is. It's always, we need the funding to do even more work, and our information is up there. I see there's several messages, great ideas, and a lot of need for those services. Thank you, Penny. April, thank you so much. I really appreciate you. Allison, thank you for posting the website. Is there any questions before we end out for me? Feel free to ask now. I'm open. If not, you can reach out to me on the website. My email is up there. You can email me at washmydogla@gmail.com, lovingpaws@gmail.com. Those two emails, I'm great. You can, and thank you, Heidi. I appreciate the energy. Thank you all for participating.
Thank you so
Maddie.
much, Terrell. I think there was one question earlier on. It kind of got buried, but from Sharon, about when you were talking about bathing dogs every 21 days, she had asked about, is that also true for double-coated dogs?
Yes. Double-coated dogs are a little bit different. When I say a little bit different, as we know, double-coated dogs, they have double coats for a reason. One, to insulate them, to regulate their body temperature. They don't need it as much because of the first coat protects them, right? It protects them from the bacteria, protects them from the elements of the world. But what they do need, especially if they're living in a hot environment like California, we get a lot of double-coated dogs here. And they're meant to be in more a colder environment. So when they do come here, they're shedding their coats like crazy. So one of the things that they do need is a proper brush out or a de-shedding treatment, because you'll see their clumpings all over their body. It can get uncomfortable. They can get matted, which when they walk, it can start to hurt, especially around their butt area, their private area. So when you have a double coated dog in a climate that is warm, I do recommend that you get them to the groomer at least every couple of months to make, especially in the shedding periods, so that we can get that hair off and make sure that they're not matted.
I saw a question from Cinder Wilkinson about, is there a safe, sorry, I lost it, some for cats, like a safe welcoming or entrance for cats?
Yes. So what we do at our agency is we schedule cats at a specific time. So we do it usually at the end of the day. So at 3:30 is our last cat appointment. So most of the dogs are gone, just in case that if there's some dogs that get triggered by cats, or if cats get triggered by dogs. Then we have a special area where we bring the cats, and we ask that everyone bring their cat in a crate, because one, we know a lot of cats don't like the water. Like as soon as they hear water or see water, they lose it. So for us, we usually ask the owner what's going on with the cat, because most cats clean themselves. But what we find is we get a lot of cats that come in that are matted because they were outside cats. So now their hair gets tangles and knots in them, and they can't get that out by licking it, because then when they get hairballs and they're swallowing it, and one, it's just impossible for them to get the mats out. So we groom the cats that are usually in a severe situation, but we do it at a specific time. We do it when it's quiet. We try to keep them away from elements that's going to cause them to get overexcited, because we can't tell a cat, calm down, it's going to be okay. Like dogs will tend to, if you pet them but once a cat is triggered, if you don't know how to handle them, that's it. They're gonna go.
Thank you so much, Terrell. Just
Thank you,
everybody is
Alice.
giving you so much love for your intentionality and thoughtfulness, and just really appreciate you being here with us today.
Thank you.
Thank you all. You can continue the conversation on Maddie's Pet Forum. And yes, I know that I feel very intentional about starting the week. So thank you again, Terrell, and thank you all for being here, and see you next week.
Thank you all. Thank you all for the comments. Thank you all for sharing. Have a blessed day.